Working with business owners just gets me excited. What I'm telling you works. Everything I'm doing here is so that you can make your business bigger and more successful. Hey everybody, you're listening to the Traffic Handler Podcast. We're about getting new customers, making more sales, and growing your e-commerce retail business. I'm your host, Amy Biddle. Means and ends, that's the title of today. You can't control some things, and people talk about it as if you can. So I want to be really clear about what you can control and what you can't. So this is the stuff that $1 million businesses are made of. So let's go. I have really good news for you. It's good news and bad news, right? So the bad news first. There are two major things that you can't control. And I'm going to skip things like truckers, strikes, weather events, stuff like that. We're just talking about inside of your business. Okay. The first thing you can't control is your revenue. Sorry, you can't. There's no way to force people to, give you the $85,000 a month you need to run a 7-figure business. You just can't control that. There's no button that you push that says $1 million business. There's no lever. There's no control inside of Facebook ads. There's no setting inside Google ads. There's no app for your Shopify store that says 7-figure business. So please, please, please let go of the magical thinking. There's no spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is just a tool. So we're going to talk about some things that you can control about this later, but there's no way to control revenue. Revenue is an outcome. Revenue is what happens when I do things right. The revenue follows. It always follows the right actions. Okay. Second, what other people do. Can't control that. You can't control what your manufacturer does, what the rep does, what the logistics people do, what happens in customs, what people do in your store. All of these things are outside your control. Yes, we set things up in business process and in the store for people to follow a certain path, do certain things. When you get to the end of the day and no one has blown up your systems, then your systems are working. So that's good. But really, we're not controlling anybody. It just isn't happening. Think about things in your online store. So let's narrow this down just a little bit more. We're going to think about things in your online store with in terms of links, navigation, and presentation. Okay. If you send someone to your store and they have multiple options for what they do, they're going to surprise you in how they use those navigation options, whether it's what they click, what they do on a page, where they bounce, when they bounce. Again, these are things that you don't control, although you can control your reaction to what they do. That's something you do control. My point is this: people will often not do what you think they're going to do, and they'll do what you don't think they're going to do. There's an app called Hotjar. There's another one called Lucky Orange. They are heat map tracking softwares that you just put on the website, and then you can see how people are using your store. I mentioned in another episode, and I can't remember which one, but we talked about using Hotjar, and we discovered that site visitors were clicking on this thing that was not a link, but you could see hundreds of link clicks or attempts to click on this thing. So we put a link on that thing, because if people want to click on it, let's turn it into something. And so then there was some thinking about, okay, where do we want people to go when they click on this thing? So that's an example. So if you just run Hotjar or Lucky Orange on a page, not your home page, don't you don't have to waste time with that, but like a collection page or series of them, or a product page or a few product pages and see how people are using your store. We've been doing some extra stuff with page navigation and looking at how people are using collection pages and product pages. Those are good for building audiences. So that's a topic for another day, but something to think about as far as how you're using, how people use the store. A lot of people talk about customer journey. It's not really something that we can control. We can ask people to do certain things. We can send people to certain places, but after they're there, what they do with that will be highly creative in most cases. So you'll see that develop. And then what good marketers do is they make decisions based on how people are using the website. And so that's the value of the information. Look at how people have used the site and then make decisions. It's always in that order. We don't tell them what to do. We learn from how people have used the site. People are not cattle herded through a chute. We don't control revenue. We don't control customer journey, but good news, within reason, you can control everything else. The magic of marketing is that you can control how much traffic goes to the store. And you can control with pretty incredible detail which people go to the store. Okay, so how much traffic, how many people, and which people. We don't sell to everyone. Now, granted, on Facebook, there's some pretty good argument for doing broad audiences, and we do that some, but there's still control working in the background because of the algorithm that happens with the Facebook ads that says, hey, you've got these people who are interested in your thing, whatever your thing is, whether it's your type of apparel or your type of whatever it is you sell. Doesn't matter what you sell, because Facebook is sending people with certain demographics and certain psychographics to your store. And so broad targeting just says, Facebook, look at my store and send me people who are going to like my stuff. That's great, but that's top of funnel and it's cold audiences, great for the acquisition layer. Not a lot of control, but we don't need a whole lot of control at the top. What you need control over is how many people you're sending like that. So most of the people I have worked with, and you're probably in this camp if you're still listening right now, most of these people are brilliant merchandisers, okay? They take beautiful pictures of wonderful products and present it brilliantly on the store. But just offering your wares as a picture or a shop now button. Oh God, please don't say shop now. That is so overused. Be more creative with your buttons, please. But the idea of just saying, here, buy my thing. Don't do that. It takes your brilliant merchandising and drops you off a cliff. All right, so don't do that. It also, when you do that and you're not explaining yourself to site visitors, you're setting yourself up to be a commodity seller. Commodities are things like gasoline or eggs or milk, and they sell at the lowest price. Don't be a low price seller. It's actually easier to play big. And that's with everything. I mean, make your business big. It's easier to be bigger. It's easier to sell at higher prices. It helps to differentiate you. So talking about commodity products, let's talk about eggs in the grocery store. $3.12 for a dozen eggs, right? But if they're pasture-raised eggs, they're $8.50, give or take. I don't know what's in your market. I live in Northeast Florida. So that's the difference between a premium product, pasture-raised eggs, or regular commodity eggs that you don't know where they came from. You can only assume a bunch of inhumane conditions for eggs that are $3.12 for a dozen. So do that. Be the pasture-raised eggs of your niche. Do that. Be different. Differentiate. Don't sell a commodity. If you think your thing is special, great. It should be. Your mom thinks that too, but don't be the only two. All right. Find ways to differentiate. And we can talk about those. I have a free Facebook group. Please join the group, start a conversation, and let's talk about how not to be a commodity seller. Don't sell just fill in the blank, whatever it is that you sell. Be different. And there are so many ways of being different. And it's better to sell at the high end. When you inject your personality into your brand, that's going to be a huge differentiator because you are the only one of you. So that's one way to do this. It's better to sell at the high end. It's easier to sell at the high end. So think about how you can control traffic and audiences in your business when you are, first of all, making more cash, because when you sell at the higher end, you have better profit margins. Everything is easier after that. And I think in another previous episode, I think it was the one before this one, depending on how we push these out, we talked about if you're going to spend 45 to 55% of your time and dollars on marketing, make them work for you. Today's episode is sponsored by Schema app for Shopify. Connect with customers at the beginning of their buying journey. Adding structured data to your Shopify store helps search engines better understand your website. This increases the chance of customers finding and purchasing products and services like yours. Get started today at schemaapp.com, schemaapp.com. Moving on, let's talk about what you can control. And I've identified 4 things that you can control. Doing these things can change the face of your business over the next, the rest of this year. Just do these for the rest of this year. And watch what happens. A lot of us in retail rely on Q4. But you can do these things now and start to have more control over when people are buying, how they're buying, even now as we're in Q2 of 2022. So this is not an exhaustive list, but it sure is going to dig you out of a bunch of holes that you're in right now. So first, focus on traffic to the store. If traffic is a trickle, that means that people are not in your store. Even if you have a really tiny budget, you can send traffic to the store. Then you can retarget those people. So that's top of funnel. That's the cold traffic, people who don't know you, and you're sending them to the store. And then you can retarget. So this is a portion of the people who are in the top of the funnel, get in front of them again. I actually have a software product that e-commerce stores are using that is grabbing more of that top of funnel traffic and then making it possible to have more people at lower costs at the bottom of the funnel. So hit me up after this episode if you want some information on that. It's also in the Facebook group. Join the free Facebook group and I've got information there. But when you have traffic going to the store in healthy volumes, then you can market, advertise, and sell all wrapped up into a neat package. Those are 3 distinct things. So the marketing is just giving you more of an opportunity to talk to more people. Advertising is how you present. Selling is the way you're talking to people, really the offer, and we'll get more into that. So number 2, audiences, the people you market to. So traffic is the volume of humanity that you're sending through the store, but your audiences, you are absolutely in control of who you're selling to. So if you don't feel like you are in control of this, again, join the Facebook group. Let's talk about audiences. Let's talk about traffic. Let's talk about how you're talking to these people. in this high-tech day and age, there's no reason that you can't control who you're talking to. Again, back to Facebook ads. When you are developing a campaign, the audiences, first of all, Facebook knows everything. This is old information. Facebook knows everything about everyone on the platform. And so being able to target people who are in your desired demographic, psychographic interests, you have access to all of that on there. And there are ways of fine tuning it. So there's no reason not to control who you're talking to so that you end up in a sale. Now, cold audience selling is not what it used to be. We need to probably nurture, not just probably, we need to nurture those cold audiences maybe a little bit longer. But, controlling who you're talking to, it's the who of selling. So number one was traffic to the store. Number two is audiences and the people who are going to be interested in your stuff. Number three, offers on the site. So offers is how you sell what you sell. And I touched on this earlier. Please don't just show pictures. Pictures are essential. And with websites, you've got unlimited amounts of room to put all kinds of pictures, but also use the space that you can, or all that you dare to use. And you can test different lengths of copy, but I want to see collection descriptions and product descriptions specifically. And wherever your store platform lets you put text, use that. And then bonus round, please use all of the SEO capability that your store platform offers. If it's Shopify, they're amazing resources for being able to put in SEO words. It's about the words, how you're selling, what you're selling, and the words that you're using to put that out there. So that's offers. So number one, traffic. Number two, audiences. Number three, offers. Number four, this kind of skips the pattern a little bit, but now let's talk about average order value. This one's tricky because you can't control what people do in the store, but you can control your offers. So how you offer bundles and product pairings and how you present your information on the store, your average order value could go from $14 to $104, assuming your audiences will stick with you through bundling and pairing, combinations. But you want to encourage people to spend more at one visit. Bonus round for this would be increasing lifetime value of a customer, LTV, lifetime value of a customer. And you increase that with smart emailing and SMS engagement over time. Please don't just make a sale and consider it done. That's a relationship that you paid for. You probably paid more than you think to get that customer. But back to average order value. So again, Facebook ads, if you're looking at Ads Manager and you're looking at the cost of a sale, that's hard to control. In fact, there really isn't any one lever that you can adjust inside your Facebook ads to say, okay, I want lower average order. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I want lower cost per sale, cost per lead, cost per sale. I want to lower that. Well, that's not so easy. But on your store, you can say this thing, this widget, this item, this apparel, this whatever, also goes with this. And there's some great apps to help you with your product pairings, frequently bought together, lots of different ways to do that. But if you raise your average order value and you help people stick with you by developing that relationship, you can forget about what's happening on Facebook. Facebook is just the acquisition source. That's where you're going to find people. And then you get far more control over how you're talking to people when you have your processes dialed in on your site. So average order value. So number one was traffic. That's the volume of people. Number two, audiences. That's who you're selling to. Offers on the site. That's number three. That's how you sell what you sell. And then item four of what you have control over is average order value. Now, I do want to put this as an aside because this has been a major constraint that I've had on my business right from the beginning. Running a business is not about shoveling a bunch of crap to people that's going to end up in a landfill in 6 months. Please do not be running that kind of business. Believe in what you're doing, believe in what you're selling, sell it for a reason, and use that as a basis for developing and nurturing relationships so that as you're selling your needed goods and services, then you're developing something good in the world. So be smart about it. No more wishful thinking about revenue. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people who say, I want to make this. Well, okay, so do you have your inventory dialed in? Like, you know that when you sell this, you can replace the inventory and then some, or whatever. No more wishful thinking about revenue. Focus on your traffic, audiences, offers, and average order values. I'm going to put a link to the free traffic handler Facebook group in the show notes. Come and find me there. You can get help with all this stuff. And if you're in trouble in your business, something has to change. The stuff to change is pretty simple. If you keep doing what you've always done, nothing will change. Yeah. All right. So that's it for today. You've been listening to the Traffic Handler Podcast. We're about getting new customers, making new sales, and building your e-commerce retail business. I'm your host, Amy Biddle. Get more at amybiddle.me. And until next time, go sell more stuff.